Increased safety and security for the Jewish community here at home after a fatal mass shooting during a Hanukkah celebration at Sydney's Bondi Beach.
Hollywood actor and director Rob Reiner and his wife have been killed in their home. The couple's son has been arrested. We will look back not only on Reiner's impact on film and television, but also his impacts here in Toronto.
Seeking closure for the family of the security guard killed in Pickering in 2023, police announced the suspect's name and a new reward, hoping for the public's help.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Andrew Brennan. Welcome to Live at 5.
People returned to Bondi Beach in Australia today to pay tribute to the victims of the attack that left 15 people dead.
Yeah, it's been the talk around the world, and today more than 1,000 people were outside of Bondi Pavilion as a menorah was lit. The attack on Sunday happened as Australia's Jewish, particularly the Chabad community, was gathering at the beach to mark the first day of Hanukkah.
Feels really vulnerable. It feels like you never get to, you always hear that on the news. This always happens overseas, happens in Israel, but it never happens to us here. This is supposed to be our safe space, especially Bondi was just one of the most magical, fun areas.
It's an attack at a public area in our most well-known beach in Australia, and that's going to get people angry, and I expect that there's going to be a lot of anger from those usually apathetic Australian communities that don't usually get involved in this kind of stuff.
Australian leaders are promising to immediately overhaul already tough gun control laws after the mass shooting.
What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil, an act of terror, an act of anti-Semitism, an attack on the first day of Hanukkah targeted at the Jewish community. A dark day in Australia's history on what should have been a day of light.
And tonight, the sails at the iconic Sydney Opera House were lit with a projection of a menorah in support of the Jewish people in Australia and around the world. The two suspected gunmen in the attack were a father and son, police say, and were shot by police. They say that a 50-year-old father died at the scene. His 24-year-old son is in a coma in hospital. And we're also learning about the man who disarmed one of the suspected shooters in something being described as heroism very rarely seen. This was all even caught on camera.
Here's the video footage. This was posted to social media. It shows the moment a bystander grabs the gunman from behind, right here, wrestles the gun from the hands of the alleged shooter. He then turns the gun on the man dressed in black, who then backs away. The bystander who was shot is identified as 43-year-old Ahmed El Ahmed, an Australian citizen who migrated from Syria in 2006.
I just can't believe he had the courage to run straight in and put his body on the line for so many people. Like, he saved so many people. If it wasn't for him, who knows how long it could have kept on going.
Yeah, especially when someone was firing at him from the bridge still, I think. Just insane.
It's mesmerising.
You'd like to hope that you would react the same way if you had the chance. I don't know if I'm as strong as he is. He was incredibly strong and very brave and managed to take the gun off the guy, which is incredible.
Yeah, I think he's a national hero for sure. Probably an international hero. A lot of people around the world wouldn't have done that. A lot of people would have ran away from the gunfire. He ran towards it.
Truly awe-inspiring in the name of such carnage that's still happening. But as this is happening there and people still talking about the effects here, police are increasing presence in Jewish communities around our city and the GTHA in the response to the attack in Australia.
This is the command post set up at Bathurst and Shepherd. It's one of the most prominent Jewish areas in Toronto. And police have regularly had an increased presence at the intersection since the Israel-Hamas war began more than 2 years ago.
Now, we also spoke with several members of the Jewish communities in Canada and here in Toronto at the Prosserman Jewish Community Centre on Bathurst. People there saying they're continuing on and remembering the message of light over darkness during Hanukkah.
We can't cower. Hanukkah at its core is about light shining through darkness, and it's important that we show that Jewish values can be Canadian values, and that we should be able to be accepted and accept others for their differences, whatever those may be.
We don't want anyone to be scared to celebrate Hanukkah and to be proudly Jewish and publicly Jewish. I think frankly, for any Canadian, that would be a really, really sad state. I think to be Jewish right now in Toronto and frankly across Canada is to also be more aware and to be more vigilant, to look around and think like, is this safe for my kids to go to this particular place? Is it safe for me? My hope is that Jews will continue to go and be proud and be out and not cower and hide. However, I think it's really normal for us to be more vigilant.
In the wake of the deadly attack in Australia, a Hanukkah celebration is being held in North York to mark the second night of the holiday.
And joining us now from the event that takes on even added significance now is our own CJ Liu at Mel Lastman Square. CJ, we can hear the music going on behind you. Is the event ongoing?
Not just yet, Andrew and Bakari. The event will take place at 6 o'clock. This is a Hanukkah celebration where they will light the second light on the menorah for the second day of Hanukkah. But it is with heavy hearts that the Jewish community is gathering today to celebrate this festival of light, given the tragedy that took place in Australia over the weekend. But they are determined to celebrate tonight and pay tribute to the victims. This will all begin at 6 o'clock. But we've been talking to some people who arrived here quite early today, including Sarah up here. Sarah, you arrived here quite early, taking part in your first Hanukkah celebration. What does it mean to you to be able to be here today with other Jewish people, especially after what happened in Australia?
Actually, I'm just so interesting to be here with my Jewish and Persian families in here. Actually, in Iran, there are many people Jewish in Iran, and then most of them they immigrate to Israel, Canada, and other places because of the government in Iran. The government is killing people just for their religions. For their religions, they have to die because they are Jewish, or they are Persians, or they are other religions. And this is horrible, and I love to join here with these people because I know them and they are the truth, and I know them, my family. And happy Hanukkah and happy Yalda, because they celebrate in Iran names Yalda. And happy Hanukkah, happy Yalda to all of you. And for Christians, happy Christmas.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah. And she mentioned the word family. That's what we've been hearing a lot from Jewish communities. Even though Australia is on the other side of the world, the Jewish community is so tight-knit, and they feel the pain of those victims here at home. And that's why there will be a large gathering tonight. Many dignitaries, politicians will be here as well, including Mayor Olivia Chow, to light the menorah. And that will be taking place at 6 o'clock today. Andrew, Bakari?
And that's CJ Liu at Mel Lastman Square, where they're getting set to mark the second night of Hanukkah under rather hard circumstances. We appreciate you, CJ. Thank you.
It's 5:08. Let's get a check on the evening commute with CP24's traffic specialist, Adjoa and Tia Bois.
Well, we continue to deal with this ongoing multi-vehicle collision. Unfortunately, not a good-looking commute for commuters on the eastbound lanes of the 401 through Dixon-Martin Grove. Again, it is a 3 right lanes that are blocked following this collision, as well as the 2 on-ramp lanes from Dixon-Martin Grove closed off as well. So very, very slow if you're headed on the eastbound 401 from well before the 410. Very, very busy at this point. Once that problem clears, we'll definitely keep you in the know. And then southbound on the 427 in the collectors, long-standing stalled transport truck. Heavy tow is not on scene. I think that's what they're waiting for. And the right lane and shoulder is blocked. But this one not really doing a bad number to your drive. Just a little bit of a delay on the approach. And the Gardner, pretty slow as you make your way out of and head into the downtown core. But you know what? Haven't spotted any live lane problems.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
Adjoa. All right, let's talk now about what Durham police are saying. They believe that $25,000 as a reward could potentially lead to new information about a suspect in a fatal 2023 shooting of a Pickering security guard at a casino.
We heard from the victim's widow today. So for more on the story, let's go live to CP24's Arda Zakarian, who's outside of the casino tonight. Arda, there's a lot of new developments in this, hearing from the widow and also that reward.
Yes, okay, so let's touch on what the widow said today. She described her husband, Michael Ferdinand, who was just 34 years old at the time that he was gunned down right behind me, which is at the Pickering Casino Resort where he worked as a security guard. It happened at 5 a.m. on October the 9th of 2023. She described Michael as being loving and generous and a caring husband, and they basically grew up together. They knew each other from when they were teens and then eventually got married. Now, she says a part of her shatters with him, and it's gone with him, and that this is going to be their third Christmas without Michael alive. He loved Christmas. But police are now offering a $25,000 reward if the information that is handed over to police leads to the arrest of this person. This person was 17 years old at the time when they did shoot Michael Ferdinand. His name is Tajay Nosworthy Smith. The reason we can say his name, as 17 years old at the time, which means he's protected under the Youth Criminal Justice Act. However, Toronto Police got judicial authorization to have his name released only up until December the 19th. Now, he is 20 years old. He's known to frequent the Jane and Finch area and has a presence online. Here's more from the detective sergeant as well as Michael Ferdinand's widow.
Someone has the piece of information that we need. Even the smallest detail, something may seem insignificant, could be what finally leads us to him and allows Michael's family to take the steps they need towards healing. You can remain anonymous by reporting your tip to Crime Stoppers. Tajay Nosworthy Smith is now 20 years old. He is of no fixed address and believed to have ties in the Driftwood community, the Jane and Finch Avenue area of Toronto, as well as the city of Brampton.
Mike was an amazing man. He was a husband, a son, a brother, an uncle, a dog dad, a friend to all. He was loving, caring, and generous. He made people smile, and he made everyone laugh. He had this ability, no matter if you had just met him or known him for years, to make you feel at ease and truly seen. He was a fierce light in this world, making every person and every moment feel like something special.
She says that her family has been living with a loss that cannot be repaired, and they're asking for the community's help because they want truth and they want accountability. Now, Tajay Nosworthy Smith, as I said, he had an online presence and he actually posted music videos on YouTube after he committed the murder. So police are looking for him. They say that they're unable to track him specifically because he's not at the place that he was when he posted those music videos. So there are 5 steps basically behind behind him. Now he is 20 years old and they're asking him to get counsel and turn himself in. Back to you.
Okay, live in Pickering, CP24's Arda Zakarian. It's 5:13 right now, -5. This is Live at 5.
And we'll talk when we come back about a man who made generational cinema. We're going to look back at the life of Rob Reiner and the tragic end for him and his wife yesterday.
Well, the son of legendary Hollywood director and actor Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, has been arrested in their deaths.
The 78-year-old Rob and 68-year-old Michelle were found dead in their L.A. home yesterday afternoon. Police say they believe they were the victims of homicide. A source has said the couples had been stabbed. Now, the LAPD says 32-year-old Nick Reiner, their son, has been booked for murder and remains in custody without bail.
And Reiner co-starred in the 1970s hit television comedy All in the Family. It won him 2 Emmy Awards. He was also one of the most prolific directors in Hollywood, and his work included some of the most memorable movies of the 1980s and 90s, including The Princess Bride, This is Spinal Tap, When Harry Met Sally, Stand By Me, and Misery. and the Reiners have been married since 1989.
A statement coming from 44th President of the United States, Barack Obama, says that Rob's achievements in film and television gave us some of our most cherished stories on screen. But beneath all the stories he produced was a deep belief in the goodness of people and a lifelong commitment to putting that belief into action.
And Maria Shriver posted on social media, quote, "I love them, and I knew they loved me. For any friend like that is such a gift. They love their kids so much, and they never stop trying to be really good parents. My love is with their family. I'm so sad for them. I'm devastated, gutted, shocked, stunned, and so deeply saddened, as are all of the people who loved them and who they loved."
Richard Krause, our resident film critic, joined us earlier to talk about not only Reimer's legacy on the silver screen, but also how one of his favorites, When Harry Met Sally, led to him meeting his wife.
It's the perfect New Year's Eve movie. It is a perfect little gem of a movie. And one of the things that's kind of lovely about it is that Rob Reiner had been married to Penny Marshall. They had a not so great divorce, and he was single for a very long time. And then when he went in to make When Harry Met Sally, it was supposed to end on a really down note. It was supposed to be that they never saw one another again. But on set, while they were making the film, he met Michelle Singer, fell in love, and changed the ending of the movie to a happy ending because she uplifted him so much.
It's over CP24 live at 5 because coming up next half hour, we're going to be joined by CTV's Andrea Case with more on Rob Reiner's life and legacy.
I'm looking forward to that. Such a sad story, still all the same. 5:18, though, right now, -5 outside as you're watching live at 5.
A rally was held today outside the constituency office of GTA MP Michael Ma, across the floor from the Conservatives to the Liberals last week.
Welcome back. There's a new report out highlighting the actions that could be taken to address youth homelessness in our city.
The Youth Homelessness Summit Summary Report. It says that interventions and prevention efforts tailored specifically to young people are needed. Its recommendations include establishing a youth-specific homelessness strategy, strengthening tenant protections, and dedicating 10% of all new affordable housing to youth-focused units.
One key distinction is that youth homelessness is most often caused by family tension, family breakdown, which is caused by a whole range of things, including poverty, discrimination, alienation, abuse, and so forth. So when you consider that, what young people need to overcome homelessness is often reconnection to community, reconnection to family, support to stay in school.
Now, the city's most recent street needs assessment found that about 1,500 16 to 24-year-olds experience homelessness on any given night in Toronto.
Well, 3 children have died from flu-related complications in the Ottawa area this month.
These 3 children, aged between 5 and 9 years old, dying from influenza A-related complications in Ottawa and the Eastern Ontario Health Unit regions. The officials speaking today are warning of a significant rise in influenza A cases. According to the City of Toronto's respiratory disease dashboard, there has been a steep rise in cases since early November. The most recent positivity rate is 8% in 1 week to 25.7% up to. Now, the medical officers are strongly recommending that everyone aged 6 months or older get their flu shot ASAP.
Well, the federal Liberals, they're hinting at more possible floor crossings today. This is following the defection of GTA MP Michael Ma to the Liberals last week. So Energy Minister Tim Hodgson was asked about it. That was during an announcement in Toronto this morning.
You're one away from a majority now. Do you think you can convince more to come over? Is there some people ready to defect?
Let's say I'm getting lots of inquiries.
Interesting. Hodgson wouldn't comment, though, about the role that he played in courting Ma, whose Markham-Unionville riding is right next door to his riding of Markham-Thornhill.
Well, meanwhile, people unhappy about Ma's defection from the Conservatives, they held a protest outside his constituency office. This is at Highway 7 and Warden Avenue. in Markham. This is today. They carried signs calling Ma a traitor and calling on him to resign.
I feel very upset, and we fight for our future. We fight for democracy. We fight for our children, the future. We need a hope.
As voters, we just want to know how we can vote next time. Who shall we trust?
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, meantime, says that he believes Mark Carney, the prime minister, is trying to, quote, manipulate and engineer a minority government.
It's 5:24, 5 below zero. This is Live at 5.
I should have said majority there, but don't worry, majority rules when we come back. Soap star Anthony Geary, who starred on General Hospital for nearly 4 days, also passing away. We'll look back on his legacy on the small screen.
Well, Actor Anthony Geary, who starred on General Hospital for about 4 decades, has died.
A strange place to do business, isn't it, Luke?
I don't tell you how to run your life, so don't tell me how to run mine, okay?
His family says Geary died yesterday at his home in Amsterdam from complications of a recent surgery. He's best known for playing Luke Spencer, whose on-again, off-again relationship with Laura Weber was one of many of the most followed storylines in soap opera history. Luke and Laura's wedding in 1981 drew 30 million viewers, the highest-rated hour of daytime TV ever. And now let's put this in comparison, by the way. Prince William and Kate's wedding not long ago, they got 23 million viewers. So, Geary won 8 Daytime Emmy Awards during his career, a record still. He was 78 years old.
Well, Olympics organizers, they say that the so-called Queen of Christmas is going to perform at the upcoming Winter Games in Italy.
Okay. Christmas, just to make sure, it ends in December, right? Just double checking, because she's the Queen of Christmas, and this is... Anyway, we'll talk about that in the new year. Mariah Carey is going to be singing the opening ceremony's first number at the Milan Cortina Winter Olympics. Organizers say her music crosses generations and cultures and seemingly the space-time continuum. The Olympics run February 6th to the 22nd.
So-called queen, she is the queen. All right, it is 5:28, 5 below zero. This is Live at 5.
When we come back, Toronto police talking about how much increased presence they have in Jewish community neighborhoods following what we saw unfold this weekend, the carnage at Bondi Beach. 15 people confirmed killed. We'll give you the reaction locally and abroad next on Live at 5. Increased safety and security for the Jewish communities here at home after a fatal shooting during a Hanukkah celebration on Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia.
Hollywood actor and director Rob Reiner and his wife were killed in their home. The couple's son has been arrested. We're going to have a look at Reiner's impact on film and television, including TIFF, with CTV's Andrea Case.
And seeking closure for a family of a security guard killed in Pickering almost 3 years ago now. Police announcing the suspect's name and a new reward to try to find him.
This is Live at 5.
Hello, I'm Andrew Brennan.
I'm Bakari Savage. Welcome to Live at 5. Well, Durham police, they're offering a $25,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of a suspect in the fatal 2023 shooting of a Pickering casino security guard.
Now, we did hear from the victim's widow today, a heart-wrenching story there. And joining us live is Arda Zakarian outside of the casino tonight with some of that conversation. Arda.
And the widow did say that this will be the third Christmas that they spend without Michael and that he loved Christmas. It leaves a deep, big void in their lives, a void that could never be repaired. And they're asking for your help. They're asking for the community's help. Any information that will lead to the arrest of the suspect. His name is Tajay Nosworthy Smith. And we can say his name because the Toronto police have a judicial authorization in order for us to do so because he was 17 years old at the time of the murder, so he's protected under the Youth Criminal Justice Act. But they're asking for your help, and here's more from the widow, and then we'll hear from the detective sergeant.
since his life was brutally cut short by this senseless act. The impact on our family has been devastating. I'm speaking today because the police need your assistance in locating the person they believe is responsible for Mike's death, Tajay Noseworthy Smith. Tajay has been on the run since the incident, and there are people that know where Tajay is that can assist us in finding him. If you are afraid to come forward, please consider using Crime Stoppers.
Michael's murder was senseless and devastating. His death shattered his family. It left a permanent void in the lives of those who loved him, worked alongside him, and depended on him. We owe it to Michael, his family, and to the entire community to find the person responsible and bring him to justice. Today we are asking, we are pleading for the public's help. Someone knows where Tajay is.
On October the 9th, 2023, Michael Ferdinand was gunned down, multiple gunshots here at Pickering Casino Resort, and the suspect is not to be found. He's still on the loose. Police have been searching for him, and he's been on the run ever since then. Now, this obviously is devastating to the family. They need your help, and they're asking for any sort of tip for the arrest of, again, his name is Tajay Noseworthy Smith. He's known to frequent the Jane and Finch area. Police say that he does have a social media presence, that he even posted YouTube videos after the murder was committed, but they have been unable to catch up with him. So if you have any information leading to his arrest, you're asked to contact police. Back to you.
Okay, reporting live in Pickering, CP24's Artis Zakarian.
All right, I guess it's time to check on traffic. It's still the rush hour, and Adjouin Bois has a look on the roads. How we looking, Adj?
Not looking so good, Andrew. We are still dealing with quite a few issues. We'll start with the problems longstanding. This is on the 401 eastbound, just as you make your way through Dixon Martin Grove. So it's the east and westbound Dixon Road on-ramps that take you to the eastbound 401. They've been blocked for a longstanding collision. At one point, had a couple of lanes out with this collision, which is now blocking the on-ramp. So a little bit of good news, but still quite a significant backup, though, if you're making your way from just before the 410. Westbound on the 401, we had problems through Leslie and the Express. My camera stalled, but it is the right lane that's blocked with this stall. Hopefully this camera's working, and it's not, so I'll just tell you about the problems because the cameras are freezing. Southbound on the 427 in the Collectors through Rathburn, right lane blocked with a stall. And if you paid a bit of extra money, headed towards the 407, westbound on the 407, just as you make your way past Dixie, it is a collision blocking the left lane. I'll send it back to you both.
Thank you very much, Adjua. And heading down to Australia now, people returning to Bondi Beach today to pay tribute to the victims of the deadly attack that left at least 15 people dead and many more injured. More
than 1,000 people gathered outside Bondi Pavilion. This is where a menorah was lit. The attack on Sunday happened as Australia's Jewish community gathered at the beach to mark the first day of Hanukkah. And the sails of the iconic Sydney Opera House were lit with a projection of a menorah in support of Australia's Jewish community. The two suspected gunmen in the attack, a father and son, they were shot by police. The 50-year-old father died at the scene. His 24-year-old son is still in a coma in hospital.
Now, Australian leaders are promising to immediately overhaul already tough gun control laws after this mass shooting.
We'll put on the agenda of the National Cabinet tougher gun laws, including limits on the number of guns that can be used or licensed by individuals. A review of licences over a period of time. People's circumstances change. People can be radicalised over a period of time. Licences should not be in perpetuity. And checks, of course, making sure that those checks and balances are in place as well.
And here at home, police are increasing their presence in Jewish communities in response to the attack in Australia.
There is a command post once again set up at Bathurst and Shepherd, an historic, prominent Jewish area in Toronto, going back to just after the Second World War to Holocaust survivors. Police already have been there much of the time since the Israel-Hamas war began more than 2 years ago.
And Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow talked about the local response to the Sydney attack.
Through Project Resolute, the chief of police will tell you that it's an all-hands-on-deck situation where they are doing everything they can to assure the Jewish community during the Hanukkah celebration and all the other events where the community gathers, the police have increased the presence in these events.
A Hanukkah celebration was held at Queen's Park earlier on this afternoon.
The 12-foot-tall menorah was lit to usher in the second night of Hanukkah. MPPs from both sides of the aisle attended the event, showing support for the Jewish community.
It's a show of unity with our MPPs standing behind us. And not all the MPPs, as you can see, are from the Jewish community. But it shows a united force that we will not for a second put up with anti-Semitism, hate of any kind whatsoever here in Ontario. You want to do hate, get the heck out of our province, because I have zero tolerance for it and zero time for anything.
Now, organizers say the Grand Menorah will be visible to traffic on University Avenue throughout the holidays, and they want as many people as possible to see the display.
Well, in the wake of the deadly attack in Australia, a Hanukkah celebration is being held in North York to mark the second night of the holiday.
And they're live right now as it's getting set to get underway in the next few minutes is our own Sija Liu at Mel Lastman Square. Sija, you were able to speak to some people already.
I was Andrew and Bakari, and people are still wanting to come here to celebrate Hanukkah, celebrating light over darkness. At 6 o'clock, there will be a public menorah lighting hosted by the Jewish Russian Community Center. And joining me for more on this year's Hanukkah celebrations in the midst of the tragedy that happened in Australia is Rabbi Mendel Zaltzman. Rabbi, thank you so much for speaking to us today. Given everything that has happened over the weekend in Australia, how would you best describe the mood heading into the celebrations tonight?
It's obviously a mixed mood. We, the Jewish people, have been accustomed to celebrating while tragedy is around us and while persecution is there in our lives. The community in Bondi that this tragedy happened with is actually the Jewish Russian community in Sydney, our sister organization. I knew Rabbi Schlanger. I studied with him in yeshiva some 23 years ago in France. His father-in-law started the community in Bondi years ago. And his father-in-law, as well as my father, grew up in the Soviet Union. And in the 1960s for my dad, for 1970s for Rabbi Schlanger's father-in-law, they did Hanukkah in the underground. They couldn't just go light a menorah because they would get persecuted. Freedom of religion wasn't exactly popular in the Soviet Union, but they celebrated. Many of you might have seen there's a video going around of hostages in the Gaza Strip lighting the menorah last year Hanukkah. And so they're in some tunnel, I don't know, 100 meters up below the ground, and they found a way to make the blessings light and sing. And that's what we're going to do tonight, knowing that there are three things that are inseparable: the people of Israel, as the Bible calls the Jews, the land of Israel, and the God of Israel. And God stands on our side. We come through on the other side every time. And that's what we celebrate on Hanukkah. We were persecuted. We were thrown out of our land. We couldn't light the menorah. And then we came back and we lit it once again. And that little bit of light that was lit then continues to be lit every single year, dispelling the darkness that is there around us.
Certainly a time to celebrate the menorah lighting. Thank you so much, Rabbi. We appreciate your time. And again, this is a public menorah lighting taking place at Mel Lastman Square. Andrew and Bakari, everything will get underway at 6 o'clock today.
That's Sija Liu, and just amazing to hear the connections between our Chabad community here and so far away. It just shows how hard tragedy can be and how far it ripples away. You're watching Live at 5. It's 5:41 right now.
Well, he made the movies that defined a generation of cinema. And coming up, CTV's Andrea Case is going to join us to look back at the life of Rob Reiner and his tragic end. Hollywood is reeling after director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle, they were found dead in their Los Angeles home yesterday. Their son, Nick, has been arrested.
Thankfully, we have our own Andrea Kaysen, who's been able to have decades of experience covering Hollywood and entertainment, and this is truly one of the greats of Hollywood and entertainment.
Yeah, he truly is. Rob Reiner is someone that, even if you don't know the name, you know his films, whether it's Stand By Me or there's just so many films, and we were just talking about that a few minutes ago. He made 6 films in 8 years, and those films, while they may not have been Academy Award winners, they certainly were winners with the audience. We're looking right there. You see, he started off as an actor. He played Michael Civic in All in the Family, affectionately known as Meathead, maybe not affectionately known as Meathead, that's what he was called. But then he went from in front of the camera to behind the camera, and the amount of films that he made and the people that he touched. We're hearing from so many people today talking about being on a film set with him. They just enjoyed being with him. Stephen King, who of course took one of, Rob Reiner took one of his books and turned it into a film, Misery, he says, "I'm horrified and saddened by the death of Rob Reiner and Michelle, wonderful friend, political ally, and brilliant filmmaker, including 2 of mine. Rest in peace, Rob. You always stood by me." Of course, could stand by me. So, that is a coming-of-age tale that, that has affected so many people.
I think about that movie, he wrote one by just doing that movie he did an amazing adaptation. But then Stephen King has had, I don't know, maybe 200 movie adaptations and whatever. This is his favorite. And unlike with Stanley Kubrick, at the premiere, he got up and hugged Rob Reiner because of how good of a job he thought he did.
I mean, so many people, a lot of people are now going to be seeing his films. The sad thing that happens when someone dies, if you're not familiar with them, all of a sudden now, you Google, you start looking, and of course, streaming services will start to be running their films because that's just what happens. You have that attention brought to them.
Of course, his son has been arrested in connection with this, but they actually had a project that premiered at TIFF.
Yeah, it's called Being Charlie, and it was semi-autobiographical. Now, his son, Nick, who has been arrested, when we first found out about the arrest, they said there was bail had been set at $4 million. It has since this afternoon been revoked. I called the LA Police Department this afternoon just to confirm because we really weren't hearing about it. And they said, yeah, there is no bail. There is no bail. And so talking about this film, this is a kid who, when he was 15, went into rehab many times over the course of his life. And Rob Reiner said that making this film showed him that rehab doesn't always work. You try the best with your child, you send them, and they have, endless amount of money. So you send them to rehab time and time again, and they kept thinking their child was the problem, and they believe everything that the people at rehab was telling them. But sometimes rehab doesn't work. If it worked, then everybody would be cured when they go to rehab. So this is a young man who's had trouble over the course of his life. We don't know what precipitated this murder. He has been charged. He's been detained. So we'll have to wait and see. We're finding out that a knife was involved, that his parents were stabbed. We don't know what happened, and the investigation continues at this point.
One thing we know about that movie is that he did that movie for his son.
Yes.
Because he wanted to be closer to someone who was dealing with a lot.
And the film premiered here in Toronto at the Toronto International Film Festival. And so it brought father and son here together. This was about 10 years ago that it premiered. And it brought the 2 of them together. And Rob was able to see his son in a different light as a result. It wasn't an incredibly successful film. And again, we'll probably see the film now be re-released because that's what happened. The family, of course, is asking for privacy at this time. But this is such an incredible story. 2 people that were in love, and you've heard the story about how they met, correct?
Yeah, on Harry Met Sally. It changed the movie. It
changed the movie. They were not supposed to, Harry and Sally were not supposed to be together at the end of this movie. But Rob, who was divorced from Penny Marshall, and that was not, they admit, not a great marriage, was down on love. He met his wife during filming of this. She was a photographer, and it changed his outlook on love. And so the film was changed. And of course, his mother was in that. You just saw that scene there. How about she's having? That was Rob Reiner's mother in that scene.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
CTV's Andrea Case. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Right now it is 5:48. 5 below zero, feeling more like 12 below outside. This is Live at 5.
We come back. We're going to talk about 4 people now arrested in a potential bomb plot for New Year's Eve in California.
Four people have been arrested in what the FBI says was a plan to set off pipe bombs on New Year's Eve across Southern California.
Now, officials saying that the 4 suspects are part of an offshoot of the pro-Palestinian group called Turtle Island Liberation Front, and they had extremist, anti-capitalist, and anti-government views. Now, they were taken into custody on Friday in the desert east of L.A. Evidence, including photos, show that investigators believe that the bomb-making materials are strewn across plastic folding tables.
The subject arrested envisioned planting backpacks with improvised explosive devices to be detonated at multiple locations in Southern California, targeting U.S. companies. These bombs were to blow up at the same time on midnight this New Year's Eve. The plan stated that the IEDs would be complex pipe bombs. It included instructions on how to manufacture the bombs and contained guidance on how to avoid leaving evidence behind that could be traced back to them. Our investigation uncovered evidence in that the group would test the explosives in the desert.
This case is another reminder about the dangers that radicalized Antifa-like groups pose to public safety and the rule of law. Through the tireless work of our prosecutors in my office and our law enforcement partners, which you will hear from today, we disrupted this terror plot before buildings were demolished or innocent people were killed. But this is not the end of our work. My office is committed to extinguishing the far-left terror threats that we face, and will continue to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
The 4 suspects face charges, including conspiracy and possession of a destructive device. Additional charges are expected.
StatsCan says that the annual rate of inflation held steady at 2.2% year over year in November.
Grocery prices rose 4.7% annually in November. That's up from 3.4% in October and the highest level in nearly 2 years. Gas prices down year over year, but rose 1.8% on a monthly basis in November. Meanwhile, consumers were finding some relief on travel costs last month. The price of travel tours fell 8.2% year over year as fewer Canadians traveled to the U.S. Hotel prices also fell 6.9%. We spoke to BNN Bloomberg's Linda Biscaya about reaction to the latest data.
So most economists expecting that to take up to 2.3%, but it held steady, same as October. And of course, this comes despite a hike in grocery prices. So grocery prices were up 4.7% year over year for the month of November. That's the highest level recorded since December 2023. So you factor in all of that, and we're seeing these numbers at 2.2%. Not bad. Gas prices were down, though, year over year, but we're up month over month. So you can see people kind of save money in certain areas, but we're still spending more overall, and we'll have to wait and see what the month of December brings. But this was a slight surprise for people today, but not too much. We're expecting just a little bit more of an increase.
New images, meantime, have been released of a mass shooting suspect at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island.
The FBI sharing this poster with 3 images of the unknown suspect in Saturday's shooting that left 2 dead, wounding 9. So the man is wearing a mask which covers most of his face. Members of the FBI were checking yards near Brown University for evidence today. Police also released another video showing a man walking on a street shortly after the shooting, but his face isn't visible. And police renewed their search after releasing a person of interest yesterday, saying that the evidence pointed in a different direction.
You're watching Live at 5 at 5:55. And when we come back, it's time to talk about the Raptors snapping potentially a losing streak against Miami.
Well, the Raptors will try and snap a 4-game losing streak tonight. This as they take on the Heat in Miami.
Met by Pirtle.
The Dinos have slipped to 5th in the East and are just half a game ahead of Miami. Toronto once again will be without R.J. Barrett. He's not played since injuring his knee back in November. Tip-off tonight is 7:30.
Well, the Weeknd has entered a partnership to oversee his music catalog.
Blinded by the Light and Benjamins, according to Variety, the Scarborough native closing a deal with Lyric Capital Group valued at more than $1 billion. It covers all his material up to this year, but no future releases. The arrangement is believed to be the second biggest in music history.
Right now it's 5:58 minus 5. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
We're going to leave you now as we look live at the menorah lighting ceremony just set to begin at Mel Lastman Square in moments. Thank you for watching us here on CP24 as we look to celebrating hope in light and darkness. Amid the darkness, we leave you here at Mel Lastman Square as we begin CTV News at 6 in moments.